Hello everybody and welcome to the Golf Chat Show Live. As you can see, today I am on my own. We're talking about what questions you need to ask if you get new golf clubs and how do you know if your golf clubs are correct for you? Because having the right setup is so important for moving your game forwards, no matter what level you are. So we're going to be talking through what you need to do, what questions you should be asking when you're going for a fitting to make sure you're getting the right setup for you. Before that, warm welcome to the channel if you are a brand new viewer. This is the Golf Chat Show Live. We've been going live every single night since lockdown. We've had celebrities on, we've had golf stars, we've had Sky Sports presenters, BBC Sport presenters. We've had so many people and it's overwhelming the support that we've had, obviously from them, but most importantly from you. So if you are enjoying the content, guys, do hit that thumbs up button at any point throughout today's video. Also, if you've got any questions about your setup that you want me to answer for you, just fire them down below in the comments area and we'll do our best to go through them. Before we get underway, as you know, if you watched yesterday's YouTube video, it was all about these. So with these, we're talking, well, you can win these. You can absolutely win these and give yourself a chance of gaming them when we get out of lockdown, or if you're already out of lockdown, you can game them right away. So it's so simple. All you have to do, I'll leave a link down below in the description at the end of going live. Head over to that video and, well, so simple. Just head over there and find out how you can win them. Also, if you're someone who's struggling with release today, or actually finding how you can get a takeaway, or just basically want to simplify your own golf swing and you want a drill that's going to do that for you, the tennis ball drill, I've just gone live with it. So I'll leave it down there below for you to check it out. So we're getting into today's YouTube video and today's golf chat show, which is all about how do you know if your clubs are correct for you? It's a big question. A lot of us may get fitted. We may not get fitted. We may have second-hand clubs. We may have clubs that we've had for years. And you may be wondering what's right and what's wrong. Now, the thing I would always say, obviously, this is depending on budget. It's not easy and it is expensive to get new golf clubs. But if you can, go for a fitting. And I would do this if you go in the whole hog, 3 separate fittings. So I'd do a wedge fitting. I would then do an iron fitting and then do a driver fitting. And what I would do is I would weigh this up and say, okay, I'm going to do it once, one time, another time, another time. So this may be 3 hours and 3 separate sessions. I would then come back to them and just double check that I've got everything exactly how I want it to be and exactly how the ball flight wants to be, because that's the most important thing. You're getting new golf clubs not to look all shiny and new, to make sure they're set up for your golf game so you can play your best golf. Because at the end of the day, we're all looking to maximize our potential, play our best golf, and just having a setup which is right for you is so important. Okay, so the first question that I would like you to be asking when you're going for a fitting is such a simple one, and it's how much do I want to spend? Because that will depend on what brand you're going to go for. That will depend on what set makeup you're going to go for, whether you want to add some more rescues in there. Do you have a combo set? All these factors, it's going there knowing what you want to spend, because you can easily let that mount up, and obviously you might want to let it mount up, but it's a really important thing. You need to know how much you want to spend. The second question I want you to ask yourself, what are my current goals? So is it to maintain my period of playing, so over a longer sense of time? So am I thinking about this set which is going to last me 10 years? So am I thinking longevity? Am I thinking that I want to get as low as I can? So am I wanting to go more down a player's route? These are simple questions, but so important. Other questions I want you to ask yourself, what are your playing goals? Is it to get as low as you can? Is it just to enjoy the game? Because that has a massive emphasis on what set you go for. So for example, I got one of my players that I teach and I look after. He's looking to get as low as he can. So we decided, he's currently off 10. We're looking at single figures. We're looking at below single figures. We're looking at category 1 in the end as our long-term goal. Now, I said to him, I think that going down a bladed route is not the route, even though he loves blades, he loves the look of them. I personally think they're really hard to hit for most players, and including myself with that. So we came up with the idea of going in a combo set. So going from pitching wedge through to 7-iron in blades, then from 7-iron to his 3-iron, slightly chunkier muscle back. Now, I'm not going to say forgiving irons, but more forgiving than the bladed irons, because this gave him a great equilibrium between having the player's look and having the workability, which he liked, and then building that into something which is a little bit more forgiving, which are clubs that are not going to be good just for now, but even when we get a little bit lower. Okay, now we're getting into specifications. We've thought about what clubs, how much we want to spend, what are our goals. Do you know your specifications? Now, not a lot of golfers do know their specifications, and it's not easy. It can seem daunting. It can seem scary, just scary overall. So the things that I want you to make sure you're getting looked after for, and I want you to think of it in this order. So when you're having your fitting next, think of it in this order. Firstly, we want to select the right head. So in terms of what loft, okay? We then want to be thinking about shaft length, okay? So shaft length has a massive importance on the lie angle. So we need to go length, then lie, and I'll explain that in a second. And then once we've done that, we want to be hitting shots with this. We want to make sure that your ball is going towards your intended target. So the best example I can use is, and what I would say is it's always, you've got to bear in mind, is a player having lessons and are they searching to improve their game in other aspects? But if you've got a slice through the golf ball, or you've got a person who constantly missing the ball right of target, a more upright club would help them. So what we mean by how length affects lie is basically we put a pin right in the middle of here. This is the club's lie angle when it's flat on the ground, okay? And this is the lie angle in which the player has. So we're looking for this middle of the golf club to be pointing at impact straight down towards target. Now, the only way of testing that is on a lie board and actually hitting shots toward the target and looking at ball flight. But you can see here, as I make the golf club more upright, that this loft starts to point further towards the left. As I create a flatter golf club, now look how it points to the right of target. Now, you might be thinking this is going more upright. We're not looking at that. We're looking at the angle that it's creating between the ground, okay? So this is a more upright golf club. The toe would be in the air. Heel be in the air, extremely flat golf club. Now, as you get a more lofted club, so if we went to a sand wedge here, which I'm going to grab out the bag, as we get a more lofted golf club, look how this loft points further to the left, more upright, and further to the right, the more flatter the lie angle becomes. So loft has a massive impact on your lie angle and making sure the lie angle is correct. Let me rephrase that. Loft doesn't have a massive impact on your lie angle. It has a massive impact on where your lie angle will point if it's incorrect. So having the correct lie angle is so important for your golf game. So the questions I'll be asking your fitter when you're going to get fitted for a set of golf clubs, are you checking my lie angle and are you checking my length? And always make sure you're looking at the length of the golf club before you change the lie, because they will impact each other. So once you've now checked the length and you check the lie, and you're making sure that you've got solid contact around the middle. So if we put strike tape on there, we're looking for a nice solid cluster around the middle. We're not looking for outliers or anything towards the toe or anything towards the heel. It may identify the clubs either too long or too short. And making sure that we've got a nice strike pattern along the sole as well. Ideally, when we're putting sole tape on, we're looking for a wear mark that is around the middle, because that's identifying the fact that that lie angle is correct for you. Now, the important thing to note here is don't base the lie angle on what it looks like at address, because we're looking at dynamic lie angle. This is what happens to impact. The shaft is too stiff for me. It bends in this way during impact. So it starts to concavely bow on the downswing. So that will affect the lie angle. And we're looking for the dynamic lie. And that's what's happening at impact. So it may look quite upright, but you may stand up and you may make the shaft work more upright during impact. So that may have a massive impact on what actually happens. So we've talked about length, we've talked about lie, and the questions I want you to ask. And now the things I want you to be searching for with your custom fitter are what shafts are we going for? What are my goals? I'm looking for something that's a little bit playable, a little bit heavier. Have I got any underlying health conditions? What golf courses am I playing? Because all these things will have a massive influence on what you choose. So I would get people to go away from the fact that a lot of people, oh no, I've got to have stiff shafts. The best example I can give you, if you're someone who's got wrist issues, you're struggling with club head speed, let your custom fitter put you in something that's going to be a little bit easier for you to swing and hopefully create a little bit more club head speed for you, because that's really going to allow you to maximize your potential. The thing that I think a lot of people forget, and just looking at longer irons now, if we've got a long iron, a 4 and 5 iron, and potentially even the 6 iron that some people carry, may not have much difference between them. So that could be to do with your club head speed. So any addition and all club head speed will help you hit those lesser lofted irons a little bit better, a little bit more in the air. Once we've done this, I want you then to look at the lofts of your golf clubs, because looking at the lofts of the golf clubs will depend on obviously your distance you want to hit, what your distance goals, but where are you playing? Are you playing a lot in the wind? Are you playing a golf course which has got a lot of raised greens? There is so many questions you've got to be asking. It's scary, really. Now, what I say with this, a lot of your custom fitters will ask you these questions. Oh, they should do. They should be asking you a lot about your golf game, a lot about how much you play. Have you got any underlying health conditions? Anything that's impacting you? What's your ball flight? Because this is going to help them build up a great image of what's in your golf game. And from there, they can help custom fit you. So once we've actually got our whole spec, we've got fitted correctly, and we've got into a really good position, then we're now into the point at which we're choosing our set makeup. Before we go into set makeup, Scott Walker just asked a question. What's your take on single length irons? Well, this is my take on them, Scott. I'm using them. I 100% game them. I absolutely love them. And the story that I'm going to tell you here is, ultimately, when I first started working with Cobra and Puma, I went out to Spain to do some filming at the Europro. I started to use them, had a joke with them saying these are not for me. I never use them. I don't like them. They're a bit of a gimmick. Anyway, I hit them and I was like, these are good. So this was in like the October. So the following February, I had my custom fitting for the current season clubs. And I was like, well, I need to try them. I really need to try them. So I tried them against the variable length, the same ones, Forge Tech, one length I've got, but I tried them against the Forge Tech variable length, and it was a different level for me. Now, the one caveat to this is it did feel strange, I should say, using a long, short iron. So, for example, my pitching wedge, for example, my 9 iron and 8 iron feel a bit bizarre being longer, but it's something I got used to. It's something that doesn't now bother me because I know exactly how they're going to react and how I have to use them. And that's just one thing I would say. You've got to get a set of clubs you can warm to and you know exactly what they do, because that's important. That's very important. And the one thing that I do love about them is the 4 and 5 iron and 6 iron. For me, that didn't play a lot pre-lockdown. I played so much more than I ever have at the minute. It really helps me become a little bit more consistent when I get out in the golf club. So having that same length club through the whole bag really, really does help me. The one thing that I don't do, which is what the guys at Cobra Puma do recommend, is to put the ball position in the same position for every single club. Now, that's something that I found really hard. I found the fact that putting the ball back in my stance with the 4 iron, I felt that I was just going to hit a knuckleball all day. Now, that's perfect if you're playing in the wind and you want to hit it low. But ultimately, I actually just changed my ball position as I would with a set of variable lengths, but I game the 1 lengths. And the spec that I've got is Forge Tech. I've got them in pitching wedge all the way through to a 4 iron, and I got the utility 3 iron and the AMT X100 shafts as well. Which club is the 1 length based on? So the length is all based on a 7 iron. Now, the one thing I want everybody to understand is it's not a standard 7 iron length. This is when you go for a fitting with Cobra and Puma or wherever you go, it could be American Golf, it could be anywhere. You go and get fitted for a 7 iron, which is your 7 iron length. And that's what I was saying before. When you're going getting fitted, you get fitted for your 7 iron length. So that might be 2 inches longer than mine. That might be half an inch shorter. It's then all adopted around your 7 iron length. Now, if you're getting fitted for a set of 1 lengths, you'll also test this in, I want to say, a 5 iron. So you will test 2 separate irons if you're going for 1 length. I think the reason why they do that is, and I think you get to test the shorter iron as well, to make sure you like it. And that's great. That's the great thing about it. When I got fitted for these, it was such a good process. I was talked through it. It was really clear, and it really helped me buy into it, because that's what you're doing, really. You're buying into the technology. You're buying into the theory. And all I can say is I'm glad I did. It's really helped me and changed my game. And no, I'm not paid and not told to say that. It just honestly has. So any other questions? Matthew Bennett, with social distancing looking like it's being normal after lockdown, what do you think club fittings will be done anytime soon? Matthew, you've absolutely done me there. I can't see them happening. Perfectly honest, I can't see them happening, because I can see you going getting data, but only with your set of irons. The only thing I would say is the only way it could work in an outside environment, this is the only way I can imagine it, outside, not even at a driving range, on a facility where it's got nothing enclosed, outside environment, where the fitter stands 2 meters away with the TrackMans all set up. You will hit your golf clubs, get your fitting, get your measurements on the current set, then you've got something to compare it against. That's also important. You then would, the only way I'm thinking this would work is if the custom fitter gives you a club in terms of makes one up, leaves it on the side. Now you only pick that up with your golf glove hand. It just, there's so many precautions that are taking place. But the only thing I can think is if the custom fitter wears gloves and makes the clubs up, leaves them on the side, and you go and collect them, you hit the shot. That is literally the only way I think and I can see that working going forwards. I think social distancing, like you say, will be here for a long time. And that's the only way I think that this is going to happen, custom fittings. But I think doing them inside, I just can't see that happening. I can't, even if the government say it's now, you can, I can't see many people going, or feel safe to go and do that. If it was outside, I know a lot of people would. And I know I've got a fitting coming up for the latest one lengths, and I can't wait to go and try them. But I'll be pushing definitely for that to be outside once it's safe. And who knows that one that'll be. I mean, I hope it is soon. I really do hope it is soon. Mick Mayer just come with a question here. Do you think there should be a standard loft for irons? For example, M4 iron is 28.5 degrees, but my old Mizuno iron 34. Well, literally, Mick, that is how all these companies are saying 7-iron is going to go 20 yards further than your old 7-iron. They've just strengthened the lofts to hell. Now, the one caveat is we've had to put a gap wedge in there. We've had to add a wedge, and a lot of people now have to carry 4 wedges because of this. No, I don't think there should be a standard length. Are you sort of talking along the rules? Mick, put it down below. Are you talking sort of the rules? I don't think there should be, no, because if you've got an older player that potentially wants to hit the ball a little bit further, this will really help them de-loft in the club a little bit within reason, because you go too far, can't get in the air, carry and all that stuff. But ultimately, I really believe that you can really help somebody's game by just strengthening the lofts a little bit, okay? So, no, I don't think there should be a standard length. I think there should be a fitting where you find your length of 7-iron and build your set around that, whether that's strengthen it by half a degree or a degree, something around there, just to help hit it a little bit further. Or if you don't want that, I mean, there's always minor sides. Like I said before, you've got to add an extra wedge in there, potentially. Might sound ridiculous, this clubs may go too far because you may not need then a rescue or a 3-iron. It's good to have gapping, and that's what I want. That's what I was trying to say to you guys before when we get into set makeup, which we will in a minute. That is exactly what I was saying. Another length, guys, if you've got any questions, fire them down below. Happy to answer as many questions if you've got about your golf game, here to help you. Paul Birchall, how is the club/swing weight calculated for every single variable length iron? Does it feel differently with single length? From what I understand, from when I had my fitting, the swing weights are all matched. So each 7-iron length, each club feels the same. Now, one thing that they do, they do offset weight in the head. And as you go through the set from, say, for example, a pitching wedge 2 to 4-iron, the weight is working a little bit lower, a little bit further back, just to help you get it up into the air a little bit easier. Otherwise, I know the first generation, you got sort of knuckleballs all the time. Now, with all the technology and the improvements, that's what they've done. But in terms of swing weight on the versus variable, I think for me, I think they're all matched, is what I'd say. And in terms of how they calculate it, they have a machine in which the golf club is weighted on. I think it goes from C1 to D12 or something along those lines. And having a heavy swing weight, a light swing weight, is really important, and it can really make a club feel and play extremely different. So when I was lucky enough to carry on the European tour and going on all the tour trucks, you see these guys, every single club that they're using, even one that they're potentially just trying, is swing weighted to that player. If that player's ever had a golf club from them before, they will know exactly their dimensions, exactly their swing weight, exactly their specifications. So every single club that is made will go out to that player's specification. Because if you think about this, for big companies, if you can get a club in a player's hand, it is like bragging rights on that. They can say #1 driver, #1 irons, #1 wedges on tour. So every time a player wants to try a set of clubs, if they're a free agent, they will make that club as best as they can. And they'll spend a lot of time making sure, especially with the big player, that it is correct and it is set up to that person's specification. Because if they like it, it's in their bag, and it's absolutely a no-brainer for that company, because that's what the tour technicians are out there to do: get new players, keep the players, service the players, and really improve what the guys are using. I know the Mizuno truck on tour is sort of like the official repairs truck, and that stays there the longest out of all the trucks that do go on tour. So that's also a thing to think about. When do you Mark Willis, apologies, Mark. When you think we will be back playing, guys? Mark, where are you listening in from? I mean, I'm based in Manchester, as you all know. I don't know. I walked around the golf course the other day on the giveaway video for this, which, by the way, guys, you can still go and enter. I'll leave the link at the end and down below. I don't know when we'll be back out. I really hope it's soon. I really, really, really do hope it's soon, but we've got to do it when it's safe and fit to do so. I mean, Northern Ireland, they're back, I think, next week. I got friends who live in New York. I got friends who live in America, and they're playing golf now. They can go from one state to the next and play golf, socially distanced, not touch the flags, hit it within reason, stay clear, everybody. So, Mark, you're the same as me. Sorry, you're from the UK. So I honestly think, I don't think we're looking like until June, at least, guys and girls. I don't, as hard as it is to say, I think we've at least got another month of this. But then I say that, I heard the other day that we could be in next week, but I think it's just stuff that's being fed down, and it's like Chinese whispers, isn't it? One person said, yeah, we might do it, turns into, yeah, we're going to be back out on the golf course. So I would say June. I think we will get out this summer with the restrictions, no competitive golf, so no competitions, but we will be out on the golf course, and that's the main thing. Another one, Scott Walker, nice drill in today's video. Could you adopt that for chipping? Scott, 110%. You could adopt that for chipping. If you look at the video that I was doing, Scott, and guys, go and check it out. It's the tennis ball drill. It can really help you get an understanding of what the club is doing. So 110%. I would even actually advise you, Scott, to warm it up with the chipping and then build it into the shots, because we're already hitting half shots anyway. So do it with the short game, build it through. But keep taking that tennis ball from one club to the next and do it up to the way to 4-iron or even driver. Make some mini swings, and you'll really get an understanding of what you have to do to the body to make the club face square. It's such an important drill. So, guys, if you're struggling with that, go and check it out. Cheers, Scott. So, guys, let's get back. Obviously, if you've got any more questions, I will answer them 110%. But getting back to, if you've now gone through the process of got all your specifications, you've got your lie, you've got your length, you've chosen your thickness of your grips, you're then in a position where you've got to sort about set makeup. So this will depend on, again, how often you play. What's your home course like if you're a member somewhere? Do you play to raised greens? Are they flat? Are they firm? Are they soft? Is it windy? Is it tree line? What's the rough like? Because all these things will influence. So I'm not talking influence in terms of we're going to go, for example, not have a 7-iron in there. The one thing I would always say for all the players, we would try and go up to a 6-iron in irons, definitely. So 9-iron from pitching wedge to 6-iron. And then in that higher end, depending on if level of player, if they want a bit more speed, they're looking for more distance, then that's where with a 5 rescue and a 4 rescue, depending if they play in the wind or not, can really help players hit it a little bit further. So what I would say is if you're a player that plays a Portland golf course, you're looking for distance, you're playing, the rough's quite thick, and you struggle with club head speed, then having a 5 and 4 or 3 rescue or 4 and 3 rescue can really help you get the golf ball in the air. get the golf ball landing a little bit softer if the greens are raised. And it can really help you have the playability on the golf course, which can be the difference of lowering your scores. It's so important. And that's without even changing your golf swing. So imagine being able to lower your scores and not change your swing. It's mind's blown. The other things I would say, if you're a player who plays a links course or in a place that's very, very windy and windy all year round, and I'd say this as potentially not a better player. No, not even a better player, but yeah, maybe a better player. If you, and obviously if within reason of the budget, which you said about the first things, if you got the budget to do so, I would always advocate, if you're a player that has, for example, 40 pitching wedge in your irons and maybe they're graduated, I would always say that if you could have a 3-iron and utility iron, so like a driving iron for when it's windy, and then if you could also game a hybrid and they become a little bit interchangeable out your set, that's a really important factor to think about, because having that ability to change it for weather conditions is valuable. It's also expensive. So you've got to weigh those things up. I'm lucky enough to have a 3-iron and have a 3 rescue. And depending on the conditions, depending on the golf course that I go and play. So the best example I could give you is earlier this year, I played an event at Hesketh Golf Club, a PGA event. I actually played decent. I played decent this year. Oh my God. I said this year. It was last year. Wow, that's scary. Oh my Lord, we're nearly halfway through this year. I played an event at Hesketh, and then the following day I played an event at my home golf course. So I ultimately at Hesketh, it's best way I can describe Hesketh, it's got like linksy holes, but then it's also got parkrun holes as well. It's a nice place. So what I did is I had my 3-iron, my utility iron in at Hesketh to get off the tee, and I wasn't feeling too good with driving that day. So I used that 3-iron off the tee, even sacrificed quite a lot of distance off the tee and just got it in play, because that's an important factor. I then, the next day, took that out, put my 3 hybrid in, because I went to a golf course which is more parkland. It wasn't as windy. The rough's a bit thicker. So having that pop out the rough can really, really help me get it out. Damien Scales, hi Alex, as a mid-handicap player, is it worth getting a putter fitting? 100. The one thing with this is to go and get a proper putting fitting. I can't get my words out there. It is quite expensive, because it's not just one thing I would say. It's not just going and trying centre putters. It's actually going and have a proper fitting. 110%. You think about it, it's the club that we use the most. It's the club that we like to spend the least on. I'm the same. I'm joining you on this, and everybody. I'm exactly the same. So I would say, yes, it is definitely worthwhile going and get a putter fitting, because if you can feel a lot more comfortable over that club, that's going to really have a direct impact on what's happening in your scores, in your overall golf game. And it's amazing. If you feel good with the putter, that can really reverberate the whole golf game. You can feel a lot more comfortable with your irons because you're not worried about missing greens. You then feel a lot more comfortable with your chipping because you're not worried about having to chip it close. So overall, it's a really good place to be. So yeah, if you guys are thinking about getting a putter fitting, definitely. And when you're having a putter fitting, I would say look at loads of different shapes, loads of different things. You're not only going to go on what's suited to your stroke, but what you like the look of, and what feels good in your hands, and what looks most square. Do you like one that sits a little bit open? Do you like one with a little bit more loft? Take loft off. What's your putting style? Do you have a forward press? There's so many questions which a very experienced putter fitter will know a lot more than me on that aspect. But yes, I can 100% guarantee going for a putting fitting is definitely so worthwhile, everybody. Really worthwhile. So if we just kind of summarize what we were saying today, we're saying there's so many questions that you need to ask when you go and getting fitted. Remember, we want to get length fitted before we do lie. Then we're looking at shaft, we're looking at loft options. And once we've got all these factors sorted, once we've got our specifications sorted, we need to ask ourselves the question, what does our golf course look like? What are our goals? How much are we playing? How much are we practicing? Do we play in wind? Do we play in soft conditions? Because these will influence what you want to have your club set up like. And do you want to have more hybrids in there? Do we go for a 5-wood instead of a 3-wood? And it's super important. And just on that note, on 5-wood instead of 3-wood, I said this last week when I did this live session on the Golf Chat Show, talking about the fact that lofting up a 3-wood can be a really good place to actually hitting your 3-wood further. A lot of people, me included, I find it hard to hit a 3-wood. So anytime I got a little bit more loft, and my Cobra one has, it's a lot easier for me to get it in the air, a lot more confidence, a lot more loft. I can get the ball going in the air and actually hit it a lot longer. I've done it with a lot of clients. So we've lofted the 3 wood up almost to like a 4.5 wood, and it's catastrophic in a good way. The difference between old and new just by lofting it up. So if you've got an interchangeable 3 wood, I can 100% guarantee that. So guys, I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight and answered some of your questions on getting fitted, the questions you should be asking, things you should be thinking about, because I think it's important that we do get it right. And it's whether you're going driver fitting, going iron fitting, what do you want to spend? You don't have to spend mountains. You don't, honestly. And just getting something that's set up for you is absolutely so valuable. So I really hope you did enjoy that. I know I always enjoy coming on here and speaking to you guys, having the guests on. And it's something that after lockdown, whenever that may be, I know we don't really know, Mark, at the minute. I know you asked that question. But as soon as it's over, this will be carrying on 110%. Just wanted to remind you, though, because we're talking tech, we're talking giveaways, you still got a chance to win this. So the brand new Garmin S62, this bad boy. I'm really enjoying it. I've been using it for the fitness aspects recently, and it's really helping me get a little bit more active, get a little bit fitter, and really see myself get ready for the golf season when it does come around. Other things that I want to share with you, we have got lots of information coming soon about a really exciting new venture. I will share that more with you on tomorrow's golf chat show. Hope you enjoyed this, guys. I always love coming on here and speaking to you. And do check out today's drop. So today's drop is a tennis ball drill. Scott made a really good point that you can use it for chipping as well. So do go and check that out. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope that gives you an insight on how to improve your golf equipment setup and make sure it's right for you. So if you do have one of these, have a look at it, test it, have a look at what the lie angle's like. And remember, even if it looks quite upright at your address, it's what's happening at impact. And if you've got a strike board and you've got some tape you can put on the bottom, test it. Can we get an even wear on the bottom? Other things that you can do, if you put a line on the golf ball, so with a Sharpie, keep it relatively wet and do it quickly, get it lined directly upright, you can see where this is actually pointing on the golf club. So if it's a little bit this way, a little bit this way, you know if the club's too upright or too flat. Thanks for joining me, guys. As always, if you did enjoy the content, I love speaking to you. So do hit the thumbs up button. And I'd love for you to join this channel and become a subscriber. Thanks very much, guys.